we just retrace this story, right? So you do basis, you have this idea for a stable coin, you end up giving back the money when you decide it's not going to work. You have this new idea for a decentralized social network. You raise some money from legit hitters. Other people pile in. Like you're saying, it's all pretty quote unquote fair, which is that we're all owning the same thing. And then you get to the point of the launch, you decide to be anonymous. You try to go the Satoshi route, but it doesn't work. Why'd you want to do that, and why didn't that work? Too many people just found out?
So basically, been working on this blockchain, the Deso blockchain, for almost 2 years, and we were like, hey, we should really launch kind of a prototype app to start testing it, like in the field, so to speak, and that was BitClout. And we wanted to, not really like have it go mainstream until at least like the middle of this year, like the middle of 2021. And so, but we obviously launching earlier is better. And so we kind of accelerated, said, okay, in March, we're going to start sharing these like password protected links with some people, just get a few hundred users, kind of see how the blockchain's holding up with like this kind of activity. So what ended up happening was, it kind of went out of control, and the links got like way overshared. And to the point where I kind of had to go out there, I had to start, saying, hey, like, this is what this is, and this is like, what's going on. But for me personally, I've always been really, I think I've always admired how like Satoshi kind of like launched Bitcoin without creating kind of like a centralized person that everyone kind of relies on, or it's like, this is our guy. So it was really, I wanted to kind of do the same thing there. And so I launched with, a pseudonym, Diamond Hands. And immediately, it was kind of very hard to get press. It was hard to get people to kind of listen to the story that is the real story versus making up their own. And so we had a lot of press saying, hey, like, this is a scam. And by the way, because it was just a prototype, there were a lot of things were missing. So you couldn't cash out your money. You couldn't actually convert your money from Deso into dollars.
And I was like, wait a minute, Sean. So you're telling me that there's a website that you invest money in, you don't know who made it, it doesn't work a lot of the times, and you can't get the money out, right? And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, got it. Just making sure we're on the same page here.
Yeah, rightfully so. Any other time, I would say that's a complete scam. Also, none of the code was open, so even though it's a blockchain and it was running on a few dozen nodes, like, no one could actually audit it or be like, hey, this is a real thing. And so we were just not prepared at all.
So let me tell you something. There was a whole bunch of criticisms like what you're talking about, right? The code is not open source. You can't cash out. Oh, they scraped our Twitter profiles. There's a big pre-buy. People got in super cheap. All this stuff. There was all these criticisms of it. We don't know who the founders are. They're kind of anonymous. But my theory, and I want to know what you think about this. So I have this phrase, which is, I think emotion commits the crime and then logic does the cover up. So all these logical complaints, I don't think are the real reason why people were so like up in arms about this new project that actually is like a really net, like if something like this existed, it would be a huge net positive in the world. And those same people hate Facebook. Well, this is the antidote. If something like this could actually get off the ground and work. And so I was surprised that the emotion was there. And I think at least this is my theory. I think that people don't like when someone gets rich without quote unquote earning it. And I think what people saw is that the insiders, so the people who created it, or maybe the early buyers, they bought so early on the bonding curve. They got so early on, and wow, $100 million is coming to this thing. These coins have run up in price, or the profiles have gone up in price. And there was this feeling like I don't know how well you did, but here's my guess. I think you've made tens of millions of dollars already liquid without, at the minimum. And your project is like under 10,000 DAU or something like that, right? So, or under 50,000, let's say. So like already in the tech world, the tech gets backlash because people will raise at like $100 million valuation. And people are like, oh, I've been running this restaurant and laundromat for years. And how does this little app with no business model be worth $100 million, right? There's already people who get upset about that. But the one saving grace is that they're not liquid. So it's not like the founders running around in a Lambo, living in a mansion in LA. But in crypto, you're liquid too. So you get the early hype and you get the liquidity of the Lambo and the mansion. And I think that is actually what triggers people about crypto in general, Bitcoin in general. People who buy an NFT and they get rich, they make $1 million off this random image. I think to other people that feels inherently unfair. And so, what do you think? Is my theory? What do you think of my theory? And then, what's your kind of response to the people who do feel that way?
I think there must be some like validity to your theory, because if you read, there's a great book called The Infinite Machine about Ethereum, and it catalogs like what happened to Ethereum, how it launched, all this stuff. They got major backlash from Bitcoin people because of the way they raised money, where they were like, hey, like, you know, projects aren't supposed to like take Bitcoin for, you know, another shitcoin. Like, you know, this is like bad. I mean, I read that book after, you know, kind of everything that was happening with BitClout, and I was like, this is eerily similar. So I think part of what you're saying has to be like a factor. You know, dude, look, that said, you know, since then, Deso is listed on exchanges. You can trade it on blockchain.com, Ascendex, and a really big one, you know, a couple big ones are coming soon. And, you know, like the code is all open and people have gotten really passionate about it. You know, contributing to it. The last couple people we've hired are like open source, like they were just contributing to it and we hired them. So I think that, you know, if I saw someone who's very clearly a scammer making lots of money, I would be upset in a way that I wouldn't be as upset if I felt like there was a shred of them not being a scammer, which we didn't have because I was anonymous. You couldn't cash out. The app was going down a lot. So whatever theory there is probably exacerbated.